Darnell, come up here, please. Come up here, please.
Live and good?
No, come up here, please, and watch this.
Gentlemen, my name is Brian. I'm a pastor of a local church here called Nikao. K-O, I'm pretty sure you pronounce that. It's like the girl in high school that was really fly, but you don't know her name. You remember her, but you don't remember the name. That's the name of our church, Nikao. It actually comes from the word Nike. It's a Greek word, so Nike means victory in the Greek. And then Nikao means conquer, prevail, overcome, and have victory. So it's a Greek word. We're in Charlotte. We're at Advanced High School. If anybody knows what it is, on Harris Boulevard. We meet there. We're about 2 years old. I'm honored to talk to you guys today real quick. A question for y'all who are watching us via video or whatever. We were talking about favorite football teams in here. There was a lot of bandwagon fans. We have one of the staff that's an Oakland Raiders hat wearer. They just beat the Panthers, and the Panthers need prayer right now. The Panthers need prayer, okay? But here's why I think the Panthers are losing. I know y'all didn't come talk about football, but here we go. I think the Panthers are losing because Cam can't dress. I don't think Cam can dress. If you think Cam got style, let me see your hand if you're in the room over there. So 2 of y'all out of all 8 of y'all. Here's the problem. Cam gets in the mirror and sees one thing. I don't know if y'all saw the little rabbit fur he wore that time with the little gold. Why you wearing a rabbit fur, Cam, first of all, it's the middle of summer. And you got rabbit fur on. I think Cam is crazy. You know who else I don't like who can dress? I don't think can dress is Russell Westbrook. Yeah. Y'all ever seen Russell Westbrook with the tight pants and the sag? Yeah. Look like he need to change his diaper? No. Here's my point. He looked like Willy Wonka, my man said. Listen, if you're watching me via video, here's the thing. 2 people can look at the same thing and see something totally different. So Cam can look in the mirror and think, bam, I'm here, ladies gonna love me. But we can look at Cam and think, Cam, go back and change right now. Russell Westbrook can look in the mirror and say, here I am, my pants are too tight, I can't move, I need to take my diaper. And we think, Russ, you look crazy. So let me ask you a question, real quick. Let me get you help right quick. Come on, tall bro, let's go. Real quick, come on.
They can't be on the camera.
This? Oh, dang, I'm sorry. Here's the thing. Look at this number. Real quick, what do you see? Just call it out.
Shit.
Now what do you see?
9.
Did I change the piece of paper?
No.
Same piece of paper, 2 different numbers. What's the point? My man said, I don't know. Exactly. The point is this. It's not what you see, but how you see it. It's not what you see, but how you see it. If I could tell you anything from my life and my story and coming to see y'all, it's an honor to be here. I love spending time with you guys already. Is this. In life, one of the most important things you can have is a good perspective. Perspective. Because perspective is not about what you see, perspective is about how you see it. I have a really close friend of mine. He's older now, but he played in the NFL. He played at UNC. Any Tar Heel fans? Duke fans, go home. Going like y'all, like the 2 in the room with me. But here's the thing. He played in college, he played at UNC, he was a star quarterback. He's only one of 2 quarterbacks to come out of UNC and go to the NFL. He played for the Denver Broncos. He's old, he backed up John Elway, if you know who that is. He was a backup for John Elway, and he played for the Miami Dolphins. He made all this money in the NFL, successful real estate dude, athlete, played ball. He dropped 61 in high school in basketball. I know my man was talking about he's a shooter. Well, he's not. He scored 61 points. But here's the thing. In the last 3 years, he's been battling one of the rarest forms of cancer in the world. He can barely get up to walk. He has 3 little kids, 3 older kids. His son's a freshman at Vanderbilt playing quarterback. Just tore his ACL for the 3rd time. He was scheduled to start. He tore it in high school, played at Cardinal Gibbons at Raleigh, tore it his junior year. Nobody recruited him, ended up going to Vanderbilt. Freshman year in spring practice, he's balling, doing his thing. He was like a Johnny Manziel type. He could run, he could throw, he could just get it. Tore his ACL. Then 3rd time, sophomore year, he's doing it, and he tears his ACL again. So this dude's battling a rare form of cancer, ACL tears with his son, dreams are deferred, wife is, everything's gone. He's not making any money. He has nothing left. And he sat me down and I said to him, Scott, tell me how it is that you find yourself in what looks like a hopeless situation and you still have hope. He said to me, Brian, and I'm going to say this to you, I want you to listen. He said, great men don't see different things. Great men see things differently. Great men don't see different things. They see things differently. So right now, fellas, let's be real. Y'all find yourself in a tough spot. Don't nobody want to be here.
Yeah, you're right.
Don't nobody want to be here. I mean, you look good in your khakis and your blue, but you don't want to be rocking this right now. You want to be wearing some stuff Cam got on. You want to wear some stuff Rush. You don't want to have to hoop just that. You want to hoop whenever you want. You want to be out. You want to get your license and you want to whip. You want your L's. You want to be talking to Shorty. You don't want to keep looking at these same dudes. You don't want to be here. You've been through some hell in your life, right?
Yeah.
Some of it other people caused, some of it you caused. We keep it 100. But here's the thing. That can't change. But what we can change today is how you see what's happening in your life. And if I can say anything about my life that's made my life my story, and I'm going to tell you a little bit to keep me where I am, it's about how I see it. It's about perspective. I say this. I say outlook determines outcome. Outlook determines outcome. So here's what I mean. I want you to, 3 things in your head. You don't have pencils, it's cool. 3 things I want you to remember what you have to look at and see the right way. The Bible, and I'm a pastor, so I'm going to quote it. I may not be able to, but I'm going to get in trouble. I'll be on lockup with y'all. Praise the Lord. Hoop though. Number 1, God says, I see your heart. Man says, I see what happens around you and on the outside. God says, I see your heart. He says, don't see like man sees, see like I see. So I, as a pastor, have to see myself, and you have to see, number 1, who you are the way God sees you. You have to see yourself not by what other people say you are. My man was talking about what a great baller he is. He said he got a jump shot. I used to hoop. I played, actually, if y'all know, right outside Central Cabarrus is right down the street. There's a high school, Central Cabarrus. I played on that team in high school. I was a state champion. I didn't see the court that year, but I got a ring. But I played ball in high school. I played in middle school. I played throughout. I played ball. I was pretty good. And like right now, if we have time, we can go in the gym. I'll get you with these shoes on. We can get it. I'll put you in that chair. Oh, you say shaking your head. Don't think because I'm old. I still got it. I'll take you on that court.
All I gotta do is get my 3.
Get your 3. You done? I got my 3. We good.
We good.
Let's do it. Here's the thing. Let's be honest. Whenever you see the skinny little white kid come on the court like I did, everybody just thought that's the slow dude that can shoot. That's it, right? You feel my pain. So I grew up hooping. I would hoop everywhere. I hoop every hood. I hoop everywhere. Hartsville Gym, I lived up there. Dude, I was giving him buckets so bad. He went to the trunk to he got the pistol. He said, listen, I was talking noise, so I had to kind of hide because I didn't want to get shot over basketball, but I was giving him buckets because he slept on me. But what happened is I had a homeboy, and I'm okay, but my homeboy can straight ball. He played college ball. He is straight, just athletic, can dunk. He just can do it. Shoot, dunk, all of it. And when we would go hoop, he would always pick me first because I was his boy. So we waiting to pick up teams. He got first pick. Oh, I got Brian. I'm like, yeah. And I walk like, yeah, I'm the first pick. I'm the man. But when he wasn't around, I was always the last pick. And when you're the last pick, you're not even picked. That's all that's left.
Yeah.
Think about it. You didn't get picked. You got defaulted. We'll take him. That's the person you're going to pass the ball to. And I felt totally different. But what's crazy is, in the Bible, there's a dude named David. And if I could pray for y'all, and I can't because I'm on state property, praise the Lord, I would want you to be a David. My prayer for me, my son, is to be a David. And the thing about David that made David special is David's like many of you. David, there's a prophet dude named Samuel in 1 Samuel 16. If you ever have a Bible, I want you to read it. And this prophet dude goes to anoint the next king of Israel. David's 15. He's like many of you. He's 15 years old at this time. His dad has sent him out to tend sheep and pick up poop. So David out in the field doing something that nobody want to do. He don't get no internet. He don't get no wireless. He can't eat no food. He got no McDonald's to go to. He out in the field doing work in the hot sun, pig smelling like poop, tending with sheep going bad all day, right? His brothers are there in a line. They're all cleaned up, looking their best, got their fresh suit on, so because the prophet's going to pick the next king. Here's the part of the story that you don't get. David's own dad didn't even see David as worthy to be picked as king. So much so that he didn't even invite him to the process. What am I saying? David's own father overlooked him because he didn't see who David was. I don't know about you, but I've had some people in my life, some moms, some fathers, some uncles, some people that overlooked me, did me dirty, left me, weren't there for me. I don't know, maybe that's you or you watching me. Maybe your dad, you feel like, well, you don't know my pops. I don't even know who my pops is. I don't know what my mom. You don't know. You feel overlooked. But here's the thing. Just because someone else overlooks you doesn't mean you should. I've been overlooked. Anybody know Steph Curry? Steph got the wettest J in history. But do you know that Steph, they said he'd never played in the league. He went to a small school, Davidson. He was too small, too short, too skinny, and now everybody rocking shoes, some Under Armour shoes for $140. The last ones look real whack, though. Praise the Lord. What's my point? It doesn't matter who overlooks you, as long as you don't overlook you.
Yeah.
And God sees you for more than what people have said about you. People say, oh, that's them dudes up there. That's Stonewall. Oh yeah, you in lockdown. Yeah, you this, you that, you that. And people want to label you by what you've done or where you are.
Look at you as a criminal.
They look at you as a criminal. But the question isn't how they see you, it's how do you see it.
Yeah.
They looked at David, his own brothers. David's own brothers were haters. David brings them grilled cheese right before he's about to kill. He walks up, you know the story about David and Goliath, you ever heard that before? David goes to show up, not to kill Goliath. He goes there because his dad said, yo, bring your brother some grilled cheese. Not really grilled cheese, but cheese and crackers. It's in the Bible. He goes there and he sees Goliath and he's like, yo, what's that? What's going on? I want to help. And his brother's like, yo, who are you? And why are you here talking? And David said, yo, shut up. He didn't say shut up. He said, be quiet. What have I even done? He ignores what they said and he turns and he looks at Goliath. What am I saying? You might feel like right now this lockdown, this spot you're in is a big problem like Goliath that you can't overcome. And there might be people who calling you a criminal. Look what you did. You're a bad kid. You're a bad dude. You ain't never gonna be nothing. You ain't gonna be this. You ain't gonna be that. You gotta turn that noise out.
I say ignore the stupidity.
Ignore the stupidity. You gotta ignore it, and you gotta focus on
going home back to your family.
Exactly. And there may be a Goliath in front of you, right? But here's the thing: David had the right perspective, because David didn't see Goliath as opposition. He saw it as an opportunity. Follow me. He saw it that way because he saw himself not like his dad, not like his brothers, not like everybody else. He saw it that way because he saw himself for who God called him to be. So when I look at you, man, I see you as dudes who have mad potential. You're just in a tight spot. You got a big giant in front of you. But here's the thing. If you never play anybody, you're 3. My man said he got 3, he'll beat everybody. If you never play anybody, how can you call yourself a champion?
Because you never played.
Never played. So here's the thing. Maybe the giant in front of you, the felony on your record, the stuff you've done, where you gotta go, where you gotta be, getting out of here, the stress of this, what people say, can I get a job when I get out? Will my family welcome me back? That may look like a giant. But here's the thing, if you never face the giant, you'll never know that you really are a giant killer. So you gotta see yourself, not the way others see you, but the way God sees you. You have to have the right perspective about you. But number 2, you gotta have the right perspective about where you are. Because sometimes we can let where we are make us define who we are. But just because you in lockup right now, just because you here, does not define you. David was in the field tending sheep, but he was still the king. Kings don't tend sheep and pick up poop, right? But just because you're here don't mean there's not a king in you. And where you are is how you see it. And you can't be on camera, but I'm gonna ask Lou. Come here, Lou. This is my man, Lou. Question. Hold on, Lou. You see a chair. Y'all see a chair? It's a chair, right? Lou, what do you want to do with the chair? Sit. You want to sit on it? Yep. Cool. You sit on it. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks. Here's what I see the chair. I can stand on it. What do you mean? What he did with the chair and what I did with the chair were two different things. Why? Because of how we saw it. He saw a chair as something to keep him seated. I saw the chair as a step up. What are you saying, Pastor Brian? You tripping? No, I'm not. Follow me. You can see where you are right now as a reason why you'll never be able to get up. If I wasn't here, I could do this. I could have my license. I could be doing this. I could be doing that. If I wasn't here, if I hadn't got caught, if this happened. Or you can see where you are right now as an opportunity to step up and say, I don't really want to be here, but I'm going to use where I am right now to get my degree, to get my education, to get myself together, to learn some stuff, to make some connections so that when I do get out, I'll be better off. Exactly. So you can make this make you bitter or better. It's up to you. I see where you are as an opportunity to go ahead because let's be real. A lot of you, I've been in some places. I'll tell you a little bit of my story. If you weren't in here, you might not be alive today. Let's keep it 100. Or you'd be doing the same thing. Something worse. And to be real, the street game, let's be honest, there's really only two ends to that.
Jail or dead.
Jail or dead. A dude came to my church 3 weeks ago, came up to me in tears at the end. Legit gangster. He said, Pastor Brian, you got to forgive me. He's trying to hold back tears. He's probably about 225, about 6'5". He got tears. He's trying to hold them back. He said, I'm trying to leave the street alone. He wasn't a low-time dealer. He said, I used to bring in hundreds of $1,000s a month. He wasn't on the street. He had people working for him on the street. But he had a son, and he was about to get married. And he said, Pastor Brian, when you were talking, I felt like God was saying to me, I have to leave that alone because I don't want my son to not have a father, and I don't want my soon-to-be wife to not have a husband. And what he was saying is, where he was in the street game, he had to realize that that wasn't going to take him anywhere. That wasn't who he was. He was a legit father, a stand-up dude, going to be a husband. He had to leave the money. He had to leave the stuff alone. And the fact that he found himself in church helped him. But the fact that you may find yourself here, this can help you. This don't have to hurt you. It only hurts you if you see it the wrong way. If you see these staff members, if you see Miss Allen, you see them as they just always trying to get on my nerves. They trying to ride me. They trying to, just leave me alone. Pull up your pants. Do this. Yo, be here on time. Do this. Clean up your room. Yo, if you just want to tell them to shut up, don't. But maybe the people who are riding you are the people who are helping. Because let's keep it 100. There's a lot of folks when you was in the street, when you wasn't in here, they ain't say nothing to you. They let you do it. Yeah. You know why? Because they ain't care. People who care will say something to you. If I was up here right now, had a big booger in my nose, y'all was watching me on the camera and nobody called Miss Allen and say that dude got a booger. That crazy white man got a booger in his nose. Y'all just gonna sit here and laugh the whole time. Put me on camera, broadcast it on recess. Look at the dude with the booger. Y'all gonna try to put me on Vine when y'all get out. You're gonna save the picture, screenshot it. Right? Put me on Snapchat when y'all out.
No, I wouldn't even do it like.
Who would tell me? Would somebody tell me? You tell me why? Because you want to look out for me. In the same way, if these people that are here to help you, if they don't say nothing to you, they don't really love you. They're not going to let you walk through life with a booger that's going to mess you up. So if they say, hey, let's do this. Let's do the work. You can do better. You got more. They're not trying to hurt you. They're trying to help you. And maybe you got put here for a season to get better and to be placed around some people that actually care about you to make you better. Where you are can either keep you down or it can lift you up. So number one, you got to see yourself for who you are. Number two, right perspective about where you are. Lastly, what you can do and what you can be. Yeah. What you can do and what you can be. But be honest, fellas, I'll be real. Sometimes we let what we've done dictate what we think we can be. Think about David, that's crazy in the Bible. David is called a man after God's own heart. But do you know what David did? David had a record. He was a felon. Y'all know that? David committed adultery. He slept with another dude's wife. He was hooked on pornography. He looked across, he saw this chick who was bathing on the top of a roof. He watched it. He called her over. He slept with her. She got pregnant. Then he brought her husband back from the army, tried to get him drunk. He got tipsy, tried to get him to go sleep with his wife so that he could do a cover-up, try to cover it up. That didn't work. He ends up killing the dude. David was an adulterer, hooked on pornography, and a murderer. He killed the dude. He had him killed. Right? Broke the law, broke God's heart. But here's the thing. What he did didn't define what he could be. In my life, I know you think, oh, here come a pastor. See, I wasn't always a pastor, and I always didn't know God. When I was in high school, I went through some stuff with my family where my pops was totally stepping out on my mom, putting it on me. No one wanted to acknowledge that it was happening. I ran from God. I went to college, went buck wild, started drinking, started smoking, girls left, right, this, that. I'm the man on campus. I went to Chapel Hill. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm living a life to the point where I don't brag about it, but y'all know you have different females for different reasons.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Right? And unfortunately, I had one that the only reason I was with her, and I wasn't even with her, I didn't even talk to her in public. I told her, don't speak to me in public. But you're a pastor, but remember, I wasn't always a pastor. I ain't always see like this. So don't speak to me in public, because she was crazy. But you know what she had? Excuse me, Miss Allen. You know what she had? Her booty was so fat. I'm talking about, yep. And I slept with her over and over until at one point, she got pregnant. So while I'm in the room, while she's calling her mom to say she's pregnant, her mom says, she's in tears. I'm over here like, I'm thinking my life is over. I go to a top 10 business school. I have all this potential, but I've been doing dirt, wilding, doing crazy stuff. And her mom says, I'm sorry, but you can't be pregnant. She said, do you remember when you were 15, you had a boyfriend that you slept with and got pregnant by? We took you to have an abortion. And when they did the surgery, we didn't want to tell you, but they messed up the surgery, scarred the tissue on your insides, and you would never be able to carry your baby again. So now I got a chick pregnant that can't be pregnant. So on one hand, I'm like relieved. On the other hand, I'm like, yo, this is ridiculously sad because I'm still a good dude. So I got to console her. I got all this going on to the point where I thought I have to do different. But guess what I didn't do? Different. I ain't do different. I went right back.
You got the same mentality that you had.
Same mentality, because I ain't changed how I saw. I just changed the females to different ones. Then to the point where my roommate turned 21. I only remember 3 things from his birthday. The first was we were drinking a bottle of Cardi 151. I don't know if you know what that is, but that's liquor that you cook with. It's so alcohol that you light a match to it, they cook with it, it burns. Burns when you go down, take it to the head, you burn. And we took that bottle ourselves to the head. I remember that. I remember dancing at the club, dancing with this girl. So we called her Baby Shaq. She was on the basketball team. She was easily 6'5", and she was not cute at all. But I was grinding on Baby Shaq. I was doing the baller dance on her. I remember that, and I'm trying to not remember that. Then I remember being outside the club. I was throwing up. Then I remember this thing, it was crazy, but I remember this white line. This is white lines going by my head. White line. I'm like, yo, what's this white line? The white line was 6 inches from my head. It's going by, all I can see is this white line, just white line.
You was on the highway.
Then I wake up. I'm in an apartment that I've never been in with some chick that I don't know. I'm in my boxers. She's eating Cheerios, watching cartoons. Now that sounds funny, but you don't want to wake up in somewhere you don't know with who you don't know.
Yeah.
And don't know what happened. That's not smart. Come to find out, what happened was my roommate had one of his girls come pick us up because we were so sick. And I was in the backseat of a car. We were going down the interstate, 65 miles an hour. And I tried to jump out the car while we were going down the interstate. And the white line I saw was the outside of the street. And what happened is, when I opened the door and I tried to jump out because I had to throw up, they reached back and they pulled me back in. What's my point? I've done some dirt. I wasn't always a pastor. And I was 6 inches from not being here to talk to you today. 6 inches.
That's crazy.
You know what that 6 inches is called? It's called grace.
Yeah.
It's called God gave me space to change how I see. Today, me talking to y'all, thank you for letting me do it. Those of you who are watching, thank you for paying attention. You might be 6 inches. 1 strike, 2 strike, you might feel like I don't have much room left. How can I be anything when I'm so close to being nothing? But why I came today, they didn't know this, but why they invited me is because I'm somebody who's not supposed to be where I am. I'm not supposed to be a pastor. I'm supposed to have multiple children by multiple women. I'm supposed to not even be alive, but I'm a pastor. Over 500 people come to our church in less than 2 years. It's unheard of. Not because I'm special, but because God saw something in me that I didn't see, that others didn't see, that where I was at the time when I was sleeping with different chicks in different rooms, being drunk in clubs, smoking, getting high. That didn't look like a pastor. What I was doing, where I had been, what I had done, that did not look like anything of a future. But here's the thing. When God looks at you, when I look at you, when the staff around here, when they look at you, they don't see what others say. They don't see where you are. And they don't see what you've done. I don't care what you've done. I don't care who you killed, who you raped, who you slept with, who you did. It don't matter. And the worst thing you can do, I can find it for you in the Bible. It don't matter what you've done. What matters is how you see. From this day forward, from this moment, my prayer for you, that when I leave here, and I'd love to come back and hang out with y'all and get on the court and whoop y'all tail, praise the Lord, coming for you. That you use today as your 6-inch moment. That you to change how you see. Listen, because God sees these things in you. There's a scripture in the Bible, Jeremiah 29:11 says, God says, for I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you, plans to give you hope and a future. You know what's crazy about that? Anybody ever heard that scripture before? Yeah, your dad's a pastor, you heard that. Here's the thing. I have the plans I have for you to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you hope in the future. You know who God wrote that to? He wrote that to people in lockup. He wrote it to people in captivity. The children of Israel, his children that he saw as God's people, they were in captivity. They were in lockup in Babylon, in a land that wasn't their own. They didn't want to be in. Y'all don't want to be here. But God said, even though you're here, I'm saying, even though you're here today, you don't want to be here. You might have to stay here for a couple more years. You might have to do your time. But in spite of that, God still has a plan for you. He has a purpose for you, and there's potential in you. You got to see that. Regardless of what you've done, regardless of what people say, and regardless of where you are. Because it's not what you see, but it's how you see it. Because great men don't see what? They don't see different things. They see things differently. You got to see different. You got to see different from this moment forward. And what matters is not what you've done. It matters from this moment, what you wake up and what you do. And you got to have hope, because there's hope for you. You're not beyond hope. Man, y'all are good. Y'all watch, y'all have hope. There's potential in you. God sees that, even if nobody else does. You have to see it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Questions from the dudes here, or the online questions?
It asks, is your church in Charlotte?
My church is in Charlotte. Yeah, we're called Nikao Church. We're on Harris Boulevard, right at Vance High School. Any other questions from the streaming audience or in here?
How long have you been a pastor?
How long have I been a pastor? I've been a pastor for almost 12 years. So I worked at a very large church in Durham. I was a youth pastor, worked with teenagers, for a long, long time. I ran a church up there of about 10,000 people, and we moved here 2 years ago to Charlotte. I actually grew up from Miami, 305, and then I moved here. I hated it. Did not want to come to stupid Harrisburg, Concord. There was nothing here when I moved here. There was 2 stoplights, a Hardee's, and a Subway, and cows. I'm from Miami. I'm a city boy. I don't want to come up here. I actually played football at J.M. Freeze Middle School right across the street here, that little field over there.
Yeah.
I used to get it in. I was rocking heads over there. Nah, I got lit up a couple times. And then I went to Central Barracks. I hated it here. I left, went to UNC Chapel Hill, never came back, never wanted to come back, and now I'm here.
They want to know that you ended up graduated from Chapel Hill and have you ever been incarcerated?
I've never been incarcerated. I graduated from Chapel Hill. I almost did not finish Chapel Hill because when that girl got pregnant, my life went so sideways through alcohol and all kind of stuff. I almost didn't finish, but I did by the grace of God.
Was she really pretty?
Was she really pretty?
Was she really pretty?
No, she was pregnant, but she couldn't carry the baby because of what had happened from her abortion.
They want to know, is Jesus real?
Is Jesus real? Jesus is totally real. And I believe that, of course, I say that because I'm a pastor, but question for you back. Just because you can't see something does not mean it's not real. Tell me where the internet is.
Cool. Hey, that's a quote of the day.
Anybody know where the iCloud is from
Yeah.
Apple? Where's the cloud?
It's in the sky.
The cloud's in the sky?
Yeah.
The Apple cloud on your phone?
Yeah. Hey, you go see the sky.
It goes to the sky. We don't know how the internet works. We don't even know where the internet is. Is it underground? Is it in the sky? Is it in the walls? We don't know, but we still get online. We still get online, right? Just because you don't see God doesn't mean that he's not real. And let me say this, whoever asked that question, listen, here's the thing. If God is not real, okay, y'all listen to me for a second. If God is not real, right, I'd rather be wrong believing that he is real than to be wrong believing that he's not real and he is. Does that make sense? I'm going to choose to believe. So one day when we all die, we all will. Hopefully not before our time because we make good choices. I believe I'm going to stand and see Jesus. But if I'm wrong, what do I lose? But if you don't believe Jesus is real and you die, like everybody's going to die, and you get there and he is real, you lose a lot.
Yeah.
That's on the do you have any children?
Do I have any children? I have 4 kids. I have 3 daughters. Y'all pray for me. I had 3 girls. I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old daughter. And I was Barbies everywhere. I was like, I can't take this. I'm going to pull out my hair. And then 4 years later, I finally had a son. He's 1.5. I got that little dude doing push-ups and up-downs. He know how to shoot. Down said, he throwing the ball. Like the other day I went shopping. He threw a ball on Black Friday at somebody, like, because don't judge me, it was Alan. He threw a ball, this little ball from Old Navy. He threw a ball and hit this dude. But he was so far away from the dude. I was like, sir, I'm sorry, but my son, his arm is amazing. Like, I know it hit you in the back. But so, yeah, I have kids. I love them.
I also want to know when you be coming back to play basketball with us.
I would love to come back and hoop. Miss Allen got to make that happen for me. And I got to stretch my back. I got my fellas with me. They're straight hoopers. My man Lou's from New Jersey. Charles is actually a doctor. Went to Duke. Came from the streets in D.C. Did not have a lot. Lou, y'all know the thing called straight shoes. You ever seen that with basketball? Help you jump.
Yeah,
These big shoes help you jump. Man, Lou grew up so poor. Lou was the first dude to go to college. Go to college, marry, go save, love God, minister. Lou grew up so poor. I'm not trying to pick on him, but he had to take textbooks from school. They made their own straight shoes. They took textbooks and put duct tape around them and would walk around on their textbooks. But here, what am I saying? It don't matter where you come from.
What made you want to become a pastor?
I did not want to be a pastor. I felt like God called me to be a pastor. I wanted to be a civil rights attorney.
Was anybody in your family a pastor?
Nobody in my family's a pastor. I wanted to be a civil rights attorney. I wanted to help people come together. I wanted to help injustice. I felt like I could talk a little bit. I would make good money. I drive a nice car. I have a pretty wife. I'll do my thing. I did not want to be a pastor, but God called me to be a pastor, and I did.
And if you had a 15-year-old son doing the same thing you did at your age, what advice would you give him?
If I had a 15-year-old son, great question. Super smart question. What would I tell him? Same thing I was doing. I would tell him this. Anybody ever had now and later candy?
Yeah.
Now and later candy? One of the things that happens at our age is we look at everything only right now. But you ever notice how you can't just chew a now and later for 5 seconds and get rid of it?
Yeah.
You got to chew a now and later forever. Your jaw starts to hurt like, "Arr, arr, arr, arr," right? Sometimes in life, the stuff we look at, we have to see it for later. So sleeping with the girl you sleeping with, selling the drugs you selling with, yeah, it's gonna buy you those J's. Yeah, it's gonna get you that. Yeah, people gonna look at you. Fighting this dude, yeah, you're gonna get your manhood. But is that moment now worth the years of pain later? I would tell my son and I would tell you, you gotta look at the decisions now through the lens of later. That girl, I don't care how fly she is, I don't care how fat her booty is, I don't care how good her stuff is, excuse me, ladies, it ain't worth none of it. And I would also tell him that you don't want to have to deal with the decisions and the consequences that I did. Some of y'all right now are dealing with stuff because your pops didn't have that conversation with you, or your pops let you. You don't want to do that to the next people coming after you. Does that make sense?
What was your major in college at Chapel Hill?
My major in college was business. I started out trying to do pharmacy because I wanted to be a doctor, but I didn't want to go to school all that long. So I was going to be a pharmacy major. But I went to my freshman year, all I did was hoop. I didn't go to class because I had an 8 o'clock class. In chemistry, I hated it. And the teacher talked like this: clear eyes, dry eyes, clear. And he wrote the textbook. I did not go. I got like a C- my first semester. It jacked up my whole pharmacy plan, and I went and I did business.
Was there a particular event that made you realize your calling?
It's a particular event that made me realize my calling. So that same Jeremiah 29:11 scripture, verse 13 says, when you seek God with all your heart, you'll find him. Sometimes we want to know Jesus is real. We want him to prove himself to us. But one of the things that helps us feel his realness is when we seek him. And so what happened was I had literally do all that crazy stuff. And then I was trying to be down. I wasn't with a gang per se, but I was trying to get down with a fraternity in college. And all my boys were in that fraternity. And what happened was, because I was white, they weren't, the old heads in that fraternity were not having that. They felt like that's not what we do. We're traditionally black fraternity. We're not going to break the mold for this dude. And so everybody came back, had this big meeting, people for 40 years. And what happened was all my homeboys shunned me. They left me literally. They wouldn't speak to me. They wouldn't talk to me. Dudes that I had rolled for, I had given money to, I had helped, I had their back in tough times. And here's the thing, you find out who really loves you when tough times hit.
Yeah.
They can say, you my brother, you my brother, you my boy, you this, you that, you this. Yeah, you ride for me because we got the same colors until we really get in trouble. Yeah. I'm gonna choose me over we, right? That's why everybody's no, that ain't how it works. And so from that, I went from being this dude that knew everybody to being this dude by myself, sitting there drinking at home by myself. And what happened was I started to feel like, you know what, I need to get my life together. And the first thing I didn't even know how to even go back to church. I just went to the Salvation Army and served some people some food. And I said to God, this is my church today. And from there, I just went on a path, and I was actually fasting, where we don't eat for a spiritual reason, if you ever known that. And I was fasting, and I had gotten saved, gave my life to Jesus, and I was fasting. And that night on the fast, I was up until like 3 in the morning. I was reading the Bible, and every scripture I turned to in the Bible kept talking about ministry. And I had never spoken to the pastor in my church ever. It was about 1,000 people that went to that church. I had never spoken to him. The same morning that I had saw those scriptures, he called me up after prayer and said, I don't know you, you don't know me, but God spoke to me about you and said that you're supposed to be in ministry and I'm gonna mentor you. He played ball, I played ball. He said, we're gonna start playing ball together. And so what happened was, you feel like, oh my God, is Jesus real? Yeah, he's real to me, because what's the odds of me reading scriptures one night and the very next morning somebody I've never known, never talked to says, hey, you're supposed to be this. And that was the very thing that I was reading about. That started me down that path.
Let's do this. I want to know, how do you find Jesus?
How do you, say it again?
How do you find Jesus?
Seek him. How do you find Jesus? You seek, here's the thing. You don't have to seek God to chase him. Here's the thing. God is chasing you. God is right here. Jesus is right here. All you have to do to find Jesus is ask Jesus and say yes. Anybody back when you was out, or even I don't know if you get the internet in here, you probably don't have one, but y'all had a Facebook in the past, right? Yeah, you got social media, whatever. On Facebook, Snapchat, whatever, people add you. On Facebook, they try to be your friend, right?
Yeah.
You have 2 options. You can either confirm it, right, or decline it. Some of y'all, the ugly girls, you decline them. Yeah, I know, right? But here's the thing. Jesus, the Bible says, stands at the door of our heart and he knocks, right? Because you're not just the body. You're not just a person in a body. You have a spirit on your inside. You have a soul on the inside, right? And what happens is, no matter where you are, there's people throughout. Joseph was in prison. Joseph changed the whole Old Testament. He was in prison. What happens is, Jesus basically is sending each of you a friend request, even right now while I'm talking. And all you have to do to find Jesus is you don't have to find him. He's sending you. He's chasing you. No matter what you've done, he loved you. He took care of all your sins. All you have to do is either confirm or decline his request simply by saying yes. All you have to do, what I did, is I just talked to God that day. I just said, Lord, this is my church to you. I don't know. I've messed up. I've been leading, trying to do all this stuff myself. I need your help. I want you to be my Lord. I want you to run my life. You don't have to have these magic word formula. All you have to do is believe. You have to repent, which means to make a U-turn. You just change your mind. Like, Lord, God, I can't do this my way anymore. I'm sorry. Say sorry, believe, and just ask God, yo, Lord, come into my life. It's that simple.
Do your parents come to your church?
Do my parents come to my church? Yeah. My parents are old, and the music in my church is kind of loud. And we worship really hard at church. It sounds crazy, but like David was a bad man. You ain't want to fight David. David was not a punk. David killed Goliath. Then he killed 1,000 dudes. They cut off their foreskin. Yeah, that's gangster.
What's foreskin?
Foreskin is when you're not circumcised. He cut warriors. He cut their joint off, brought it to the king. David was a bad dude, but David, one time in the Bible, his wife gets mad at him because David's worshiping God so crazy. She's like, yo, people, you're not supposed to worship like that. But here's the thing. If I took y'all to a Panthers game right now, man, y'all would, even though y'all was super cool, swagged out, y'all would be like, Cam, that's my dude. Cam, you're the real MVP. You'll be acting a fool. But when I think about God and how God rescued me from that 6 inches and how he kept me from all this other stuff and how I probably should have been right here chilling with y'all, somebody like you 30 years ago right here in this spot, I was with you. We were in the same color. Like, the fact that he kept me from some of those things and the fact that even though some of them I got into, he still pulled me out of and helped me later. Man, we worship hard. So my parents are like, y'all are just, you're a little too loud for us. So no.
Is your church multiracial?
Is my church multiracial? Well, I'm there. No, but we do have all different types of people. We have Hispanic people, we have white people, we have black people, we have people who don't know what they are, they're so mixed up. We have Indian people, we have all kinds of people. Yeah.
Do you have a degree in theology?
I do have a pastoral ministry degree and a Bible degree from a place in Oklahoma. I lived in Oklahoma for 2 years with my wife in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Coldest place, hottest place I've ever lived. I have a degree from a Bible school there. Yeah.
What advice would you give your daughter if she goes out to college and she meets a guy like you was?
Don't meet me. No, I would tell my daughter this. I would tell my daughter if she sees herself the way God sees her. Yeah, I don't know if y'all know this movie back in the day. There was a Disney movie out. Probably not. Yeah, you don't have to raise your hand on what you feel like a punk. But I have daughters, so I watch it. There's a Disney movie called Princess and the Frog.
Yeah, that's my movie.
That's your movie though? I feel you. So I watched that movie, right? You ever seen Frozen?
Yeah.
Hopefully y'all gonna wake up in the morning and see the cell talking about let it go. If you do that, just slap your boy. No, slap your boy. Here's the thing. I would tell my daughter, if you really see yourself as a princess, you won't date a frog. And at the time, I was a frog, right? And here's the thing. You think about the word settle. Settle, like settle. I settled for less. I settled for a loss. I settled. If you think about the word settle, it's made of 2 words. See little. See little. When you see little, you settle. Goes back to what we see perspective, right? My daughter, if she's going to date somebody like me at that time, she would be seeing too little for herself and settling for me at that time because I didn't see enough for myself. Make sense? You had a question? Trying to dunk on me? I get it.
When you pray, do you pray to God or Jesus?
When you pray to God, God and Jesus are the same person. It sounds crazy, right? But my name is Brian Edward Dooley. That's my government name. The government trying to come for me. Brian Edward Dooley, right? But I'm also Pastor Brian to a lot of people. But to my kids, I'm Daddy, give me some milk. Right? So although I'm Brian Edward Dooley to the government, I'm Pastor Brian to so many people, and I'm Daddy to my kids, I'm still one person with different roles. God is what's a trinity. It's kind of hard, but if you think about like an egg, An egg has 3 parts, but we don't take the yolk out of an egg, the yellow part, and not call it an egg. It's still an egg. You got the shell, you have the white part, and you got the yolk. It's still an egg, but 3 parts. Ice, water, if it gets hot enough, it evaporates to oxygen to air. Still made of H2O. Then it's water. Then if you freeze it, it's still ice, but it's still what? It's all still water. In the same way, God, the Father, Jesus, the Son, and the Holy Spirit lives in us. So when we pray to God, our Father, in Jesus' name, which may confuse you, but at the end of the day, if you just pray God, Lord, Jesus, any of those, trust me, God understands. He got multiple names on social media. He understands.
Do you get a salary for being a pastor?
I do work full-time as a pastor. I work at all times, because here's the thing about being a pastor, it never stops. So I can be in a grocery store, Pastor Brian, somebody needs something at night, somebody's in the hospital, somebody dies, somebody's sick, somebody needs counsel. I'm always a pastor, so I do work full-time as a pastor. Yep.
I got a question.
What's
How
up?
do you feel about the Israelites?
How do I feel about the Israelites? What do you mean? Like in Israel right now?
Like how you feel about the Israelites, the organization, like the people? Like the Israelites, the people, they like
From the Old Testament and the Bible?
yeah.
Yeah. So those were God's chosen people. Just like you guys
That's why
are.
they got it now though.
Just like are you God's chosen people, they got it now. There's history that goes with that, and unfortunately, there's evil people that try to attack God's people, just like y'all face attack.
Question: do you go to different churches and stuff?
I do go to different churches. So, I spoke somewhere in Virginia, like the cut of Virginia, almost like Tarboro. They didn't even have a McDonald's out there. It was crazy. I spoke there like 3 weeks ago. Y'all got a McDonald's in Tarboro? That's it. Y'all tired of me already?
Yeah, any more questions? They'll come up with some more because it's just 10:30.
Y'all trying to kill time with me? Let's go. I got a question for y'all and for debate. Don't get too loud. LeBron or MJ?
LeBron. MJ.
Show a hand. MJ hands.
MJ.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, thank you, the old head. Oh.
Well, I do MJ too, because I don't know.
You said LeBron?
MJ, LeBron, look, LeBron trying to be like Mike. LeBron trying to be like Mike.
All right, here we go. I got one better. Got a question? Go ahead.
Do you listen to rap music?
That's what I just
Do I listen to rap music? So I do listen to rap music. However, I listen to mostly Christian hip hop. It may sound like, oh, that's corny, but there's some phenomenal. There's a dude out named Lecrae who literally he's on BET. One of the things, if you're gonna guard your perspective, right, is you have to guard the gates in which your perspective is given. The Bible says, and it's just true, as a person think in their heart, so are they. So what you think about, so what I listen to, what I see, I can't look at a female long enough without thinking some wrong thoughts, right? Let's be real. I can't listen to stuff about murdering cats, about sleeping with girls, about slanging stuff, and then not want to do it, especially if that's something I've done before. So because where I come from, what I used to listen to, I listened to a lot of hip hop. I grew up in Miami on stuff like Two Live Crew and Uncle Luke, all kind of crazy stuff, help us, right? That stuff can make you want to do certain things. So right now, my wife drives a minivan. I know that's not cool, but she drives a minivan. And so if I'm driving a minivan and I put on the wrong music, I'll start leaning in the minivan, like, and I'm like, oh, what am I doing? First of all, I'm driving a minivan. That's corny. Number two, this music is not helping me be who I'm called to be. So you got to surround yourself with some positive stuff. I'm not telling you to put on grandma's church music. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, what you think about, there's a dude out called Lecrae. There's a dude, Andy Mineo, M-I-N-E-O. He's a phenomenal rapper. He got some ill lyrics. He's just a great lyricist. Check out some stuff that's positive instead of some stuff that's just saying, do so. If all you hear is the dirt you were doing, what you gonna go back to?
The same thing.
The same dirt. You gotta change change the soundtrack.
So you must hear that song like, I love God.
Yeah, I heard that song. I don't necessarily love that song.
You don't like it?
It's all right.
I like that song.
It's that gospel trap music, yeah. Trapping for Jesus.
It don't matter. I listen to gospel music.
I like all kind of music, but I can't listen to no crazy stuff because it doesn't help me be the person that I believe I should be.
What position was you playing for basketball?
For basketball, I was a point guard and a two guard. In football, I played receiver, DB. I held for kicks. I did every special team, the punt return, because I had good hands. I was slow as ever, but I had good hands. I was quick.
Do you have time to visit other units before you leave?
I don't know if that's allowed. That would be a Miss Allen question. If I
It
can.
depends on if we in now. If we in at 11, y'all at lunch, so.
I would love to come hang out with y'all. I just don't know if I have no idea what y'all
Absolutely.
do.
Students want to know, do you know Rod of God Church in Charlotte?
Do I know what?
Rod of God.
Rod of God, I have not heard of that. Hickory Grove, I have heard of. My parents went to
Have you ever
Hickory Grove.
spoken-
You go to Hickory Grove? That's what's up.
Have you ever spoken at the church of Lexington New Life Ministry?
I haven't ever spoken in Lexington. I know several pastors in Winston. I haven't spoken in Winston. I speak in Greensboro a lot.
Any more questions out there? 'Cause I mean,
Uh-oh.
I see what time it is. I'm just saying.
This is like the first time in history I've ever been early. I always preach too long, so.
See, look,
Can you make Christmas music?
Can I make Christmas music?
No, Christmas music, like
Can I make
something?
music? The one thing I can't do, so you gotta know your gifts, right? So he said he can shoot. They say he can't shoot. They say you can shoot her, you can dunk, you drive it. Oh, he can't dunk?
I can't go.
In that Sprite commercial with Kobe on the rims. I can't sing at all. If I could sing, I would never preach. And if I could sing, I would sing to my wife all the time. But I can't sing at all. I'll be making up all kinds of songs for my wife. And I would sing at church all the time, but I can't sing.
Did you ever find out who that girl was? That was eating Cheerios?
Yeah. Did I ever find out who the girl was? Yes, I did. That girl was the roommate of the girl that came to pick us up. Good question. Good question.
What churches have you been to in Greensboro?
What churches have I been to in Greensboro? There's a church in Greensboro called Bethany Fellowship. There's a church in Greensboro that's right next to A&T that called Hungry Church. It's a good question.
They waste some
Do
time.
you have a favorite passage of the Bible?
The favorite man, I have a lot of favorite passages. The ones I shared with you today are some David and Goliath, and the whole story of David is one of my favorite passages. I love a passage, Jeremiah 29:11 is a favorite passage for me. And then one of my all-time favorite passages of scripture is in the book of Mark chapter 5. The whole chapter is amazing. But I love also where Peter walks on water. Jesus walks on water, but Peter walks on water. That sounds crazy. Don't go out to the lake, try to do it. But it says basically that with God, if you keep your eyes on him, you can do anything. Nothing's impossible with God. You like Daniel and the last day? I like that too.
Have you ever been to the Rock Church on West Boulevard?
Ever been to the Rock Church? I know of the Rock Church. I have not been there, no.
No, your people here want to speak.
Yeah,
Get something positive.
yeah, let's do it. So, Lou, come on, Charles, come on, let's sit. This is my man Lou. He's from Jersey. Y'all help me pray for him. He's a good dude. He's a bandwagon fan, though. I have to say that. So he don't like just a team. He picks the best teams in every sport and try to like. That's our dude right here. They're both with the dude. This is Charles with us. He's a doctor. Went to div school. His wife's a doctor. They're faithful people of our church. Charles is from DC. Oh, good God. I think you're a Redskins fan, aren't you? And he's definitely a Duke fan, so y'all mess with them, but let them.
So, I mean, originally I'm from Newark, New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey is probably by far one of the roughest places or whatever. So Pastor Brian's talking about perspective and how you see things differently or whatever. And so in my environment, it was just like a whole bunch of people doing a whole bunch of stuff. Everybody was kind of complacent. Everybody was kind of at a standstill. Nobody was doing too much of anything. But I saw myself as being, bigger and better than, not necessarily better than them, but I wanted to do something different. And so I took it upon myself to say, hey, I'm going to go to college. Nobody in my family went to school. I said, I'm going to go to college. That's what I'm going to do. So I went from New Jersey to North Carolina, and I went to North Carolina Central, got my degree there, came home for the summertime. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of New Jersey. Like, I'm done. And a lot of people, I know y'all probably heard this before, I'm a product of my environment. I don't believe that. Because it's like the stuff that I grew up around and my dad not being there and, me seeing the different things that I saw around in my neighborhood, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do this because I had a mind of my own. Like people say peer pressure. I don't believe in peer pressure. I don't think that that's real. Just because of the fact that we all have our own minds, you can make your own decisions or whatever. And so when he said, great men don't see different things, they just see things differently. And so all my family saw was complacency. They saw we're gonna do the same thing. And I said, nah, I don't want to see that. And so that's why I up and left.
So did you ever get in trouble as a kid?
No, man. So the crazy thing is my story, I don't have a crazy story to where I got in trouble. A lot of things happened to me. Like I've been robbed, I've been shot at, just by being in the environment that I was in.
Yeah.
The friends and the people that I hung out with was kind of in some stuff or whatever. And so it was like not necessarily hanging around them kind of brought that upon me, but it was just like at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, just hate it.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, you can't, it's unfortunate that this happened. I went to, where did I go? We went to this thing called Soul Bowl. It's from like 10 to 2 or whatever. And so we're hanging out. We got girls with us. There's a bunch of us or whatever. And so we're there. And in the midst of us being there, this dude wanted to holler at one of the girls that was with us or whatever. And so she was like, nah. So she got in the car. So dude got mad. And so they had like local talent at the bowling alley or whatever. And they were called the Gladiators or whatever. And so we leave out. She like, nah, I'm not talking to him. So she get in the car. Dude get mad, start stomping on the roof. And so the people that we were was like, yo, my man, like, yo, we can either fight, like, or you can get down. And so he just started mouthing off or whatever. And the next thing you know, he pulled out the tool. And then he just pointed the gun at everybody and just started shooting. And at that time, I realized, like, see, this is the stuff that I can't be around. I can't necessarily be around these people, but it was just like at the wrong place at the wrong time. So I didn't necessarily get in trouble, but I was just around like certain different things because of
I said
where it
that's a lot
was.
of hater shit.
You got any friends that's like locked up or dead?
I have friends that have passed away. I've seen people shot and killed. That's, you know, like I said, where I'm from, a lot of that stuff happens on the daily. But I don't necessarily associate myself with those kind of people because of the fact that it's like, once I made a decision to live my life for Christ, it was like I kind of put those people because I realized sometimes when you want to go somewhere, you can't take everybody with you. So I'm pretty sure everybody here got friends that's just like, yo, you know, I can't wait till you get out there and we're going to ride. But if you're trying to change who you are, then you can't hang out with those guys no more because of the fact that you're starting to see things differently, but they still see things as the same. And if you go back, then you're going to start seeing yourself as them. And the Bible says there's a scripture that says that bad company corrupts good habits. So you guys would have had good habits, and then all of a sudden you're going to revert back to the things that you were doing because of the people that you start to hang around.
They want to know that.
So I went to Chancellor Avenue School from 3rd grade to 8th grade, and then I went to St. Mary's for high school in Elizabeth.
You play football?
I did. I played football. I played fullback and linebacker.
Yeah.
You went to where? Where is that at? So the not Jefferson and Scott, but the Elizabeth High School had 2 campuses because they had like 1,100 kids, right across the street.
So he looked like Jerome Bettis though a little bit. In high school they call him the mini bus.
I asked that because got weight on
I played baseball in college though, so I didn't play football in college.
He can shoot from anywhere on the court.
Yeah,
You can't really make it from anywhere.
No,
You can shoot from
no, he
anywhere.
can really shoot from anywhere. You gotta check.
any of your family
I've talked to
members
him a little bit about,
Yeah.
$400.
Oh, okay, everybody, yeah, so I'm in the Weekway section too.
That's why I have to put you in the
Yeah, Pomona, yep. Off of Bergen.
Did any of your family members follow you to NC?
Yeah, no, so nobody followed me to NC yet, but I'm still working on it. I'm working on it. My mom came, she lived in Columbia, South Carolina for a little bit. And then my grandma got sick, and so she moved back to New Jersey. But I'm trying to get everybody to migrate down here.
They said, what's your favorite baseball team?
I'm a Yankees fan.
Come on, man. That's overrated.
Hey. Carolina don't even got a team.
You got any brothers?
You're a Braves fan, right?
Nah, I don't even.
You don't even care.
I'm going to tell a little bit about myself, and you can keep asking both of us questions. So I think in some ways, you know, Lou and I grew up similarly, even though we grew up in different areas. As Pastor Brian said, I'm from Washington, D.C. When I was growing up in D.C., I'm just a few years older than Lou. When I was growing up in D.C., it was the murder capital of the country. I mean, it was crazy no matter where you were, good parts of town, bad parts of town, especially in the summertime. It seemed like every night, 2-3 people would be getting shot, 2-3 people would be dying. It was just crazy. And it was back when crack was first starting to come out, like in the late 80s, early 90s. It was just incredibly crazy. Lou was talking about his perspective and how he saw himself when he was your age, and how that really helped to get him motivated motivated to get out of the situation that he was in. I think for me, it was a little bit different. You know, I was blessed to have parents that really, really loved me and would pour positive things into me. I think for good or bad, I was kind of like, you know, almost like lukewarm water. I didn't really see myself as that great. I didn't really see myself as that bad. I was kind of going through life, which honestly left me really open and susceptible to things that people would say about me. So, you know, even though I did decently in school, honestly, like, is anybody in the room real fast? Who you saying was like real fast playing football and basketball? Got speed? Yeah. Did you have to work to be real fast?
No.
Yeah, you just, yeah. So I didn't have to, honestly, when I was younger, I didn't have to really work that hard to do pretty well in school. I was fast too. I was quick. I was good at a lot of sports. I didn't really have to work for it. And some of those things, you know, kind of came easy to me, but also that left me susceptible when, you know, whether it was my friends or my teachers, especially, or, you know, if I didn't do that well on a test, and they would say, oh, well, you know, don't worry about it. You know, not everybody's going to be that good. Or I had some of my teachers say, well, you're good in sports. You can't be good in sports and academics. That kind of stuff really got inside my head. And that changed my perspective about how I saw myself. That became how I saw myself. And I think my parents saw my mentality and my perspective of myself shifting. And they tried to put me in an environment with some people that would start to speak positive things about me until I could really see it and hold on to it for myself. You know, sometimes, and that's the tough thing about being your age. And for me, I'll you know, just speak about my experience. It was tough for me at times to really see myself as positive. And, you know, thankfully, my parents did, and they tried to put me around people that saw me that way. And then I kind of would pick up on that until I could really hold on to it for myself. Again, it's kind of like if you, I don't know if y'all have ever been like hiking or if you've ever traveled and you carried a heavy bag and you can't maybe carry it all by yourself the whole way. You know, maybe there's someone that's with you that can carry it part of the way for you and kind of give you a little bit of rest. And you, okay, man, I got it. You carry a little bit more, and your shoulder kind of gets tired. You can hand it back to your boy. That's how your perspective is sometimes. And that's why, again, like we're saying, you got to be careful whether you're here, whether you're, you know, out on the streets. The people that you're around, like that old saying, like birds of a feather flock together. It's not just your friends. It could be whether it's your family or whoever. Really, and again, you guys are, y'all are young men, okay? So it is now your responsibility to choose who you have around you, who you're gonna let get into that personal space. Like Pastor Brown was saying, you know, does he, you know, someone's asking him, does he listen to rap and hip hop and stuff like that? You gotta be careful about what you allow inside you, whether it's from music, whether it's from TV, things you read on the internet, things that you're looking at, the people that are around you. You have to be careful about that because you can be, you know, really susceptible and open to those influences. And that's really how I was as a young man. And it wasn't until, you know, got to my early 20s that I was really able to, for myself, say, hey,
Yeah.
I'm worthwhile. I can do this. And I had, you know, man, I can do anything that I want to do. And, you know, from a time of being a really little kid, I was always interested in like science and stuff like that. And kind of went down the path to become a doctor.
Where are you working at the time?
So I'm actually starting my own business. So I went to Duke and I came down here. I got a job for a medical center. And I worked up at the Northeast Hospital. It's actually 60 miles down the road. I worked there until a few months ago. And I think God really called me to do something a little bit different that could really impact people's lives. You know, as a doctor, like one of the awesome things is, you know, you go into that room, you know, if a patient goes into that room, all of a sudden they'll just, you know, like you go to see your doctor, you start telling them, yeah, not only it hurts here, but I feel scared about this. And you've known that doctor for only a few seconds. As a doctor, you have people open up to you really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And you have the ability to impact their lives. And one of the tough things about the way the world works today is there's a lot of pressure on doctors to get on to see the next patient and not to really care about the person that's right in front of you. And that's just not the way I am. So I really felt got home to the thing where I can get paid for some rules of the way that I treat people and the way that I can impact people's lives. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to be opening my own practice in about 2 months. I'm a rheumatologist, so yeah. So I didn't know what that was until I was in medical school. So I'm explaining what that is to y'all. Take care of patients that have different what we call autoimmune diseases. A lot of my patients have different kinds of arthritis, like joint pain, muscle pain. But autoimmune diseases, like if you've heard of your immune system that keeps you healthy and like protects your body from getting, different viruses or getting bacteria making you sick. Your immune system is like the military. If you know anybody that's in the army or joined the army, they make you take an oath. I promise to protect the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Okay, that's what your immune system does. It protects your body against foreign enemies like bacteria and viruses. It also helps to regulate your body and prevent things internally from going wrong and causing cancer. It's like your body kind of attacking itself. So some patients have what we call autoimmune disease. That immune system that's supposed to protect you actually starts to attack you, and it causes lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. It can attack your blood vessels. So those are most of the patients that I treat. Again, a lot of my patients also have different kind of joint diseases and bone diseases. But that's my specialty.
Did you get a scholarship to Duke?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
Did your wife, is she gonna work with you as a doctor?
So she's gonna work. My wife is also a doctor. We met in medical school, and she's gonna help run my practice. So in some ways, just like at home, she's gonna be my boss.
We appreciate y'all coming out.
Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Drop some knowledge. Drop some knowledge in my brain.
That's what it's about.
Stay focused and not stupidity stuff.
Y'all all got it inside of you. It was already gifted and placed inside of you before you was even born. It just so happens that you did some stuff or whatever that caused you to get here. But at the end of the day, those gifts and those talents and those abilities and what it is that he has in store for you are still inside. So can't nobody ever take those away from you. Only person that can stop you from being who you're supposed to be is you. No matter if your dad wasn't there, no matter if your mom wasn't there, your uncle, your aunt, your grandmother, don't matter. At the end of the day, it's about you.
What's your scholarship, academic, sports, about?
So a lot of y'all grew up Pastor Brian grew up playing a lot of basketball. We played some basketball, football. I actually grew up playing mostly soccer. So from the time I was 5 years old, that's been my favorite sport. Beautiful game. And the beautiful thing about soccer is if you can become a good soccer player, really those skills, like with balance and speed and strength and endurance, it translates to just about any sport. So I mean, if you name a sport, I played at least a season of it. I played tennis. I played ice hockey. I played lacrosse. I played basketball. The only thing I didn't play was baseball just because I didn't really like it. I didn't have the patience to. I was like, I'm just gonna sit down for half the time. I mean, and the other half of the time I'm gonna be standing out in the field, not doing anything. That just wasn't for me. So I was like, give me a ball to chase or a track to run around, and I was good at it and I liked it. So when I was growing up, I started getting. I was pretty good. I played an age group up for soccer. So like when I was 14 and everybody was playing under 15, I played under 16. So I started to get recruited to play soccer when I was maybe like a sophomore and junior, but then everybody on my club soccer team graduated a year ahead of me. And that was the time again, like where my parents put me in a school where I started to get a little bit more mentorship and people that cared about me differently. And I was really starting to focus on my academics because again, just like you were saying, like you just woke up and you were fast. Like I didn't learn how to study until I was about 17 to 18 years old. I mean, I could kind of sit in my class, like listen and pay attention, and I would get decent grades. I wasn't the straight A student. I wasn't, flunking out, but I could listen. I could show up and remember most things. But it wasn't until later that I said, okay, let me figure out how to study and start to really dedicate myself to that.
So how do you study?
So part of it is, exactly. Part of it is learning. I think the greatest thing about college, and I definitely, encourage all of you guys to do your best to get a college education, is learning how to learn. That was one of the best gifts that I got out of college. And for me, a lot of it is repetition and writing things down. it's focus. So like a lot, like when you hear people talking about, oh, I'm a good like multitasker. Have you heard people say that? Like doing a lot of things at one time. That's a lie. Let me just say like that's a lie. Like your brain just, we're not wired to focus on multiple things all at one time. And especially like for you guys, like in this generation, you see people, you know, you're plugged in, you're listening to something, you're watching something on TV, you're watching something else on your phone, and then you're trying to study at the same time. That's not going to work. So learning and training yourself. And again, like these are skills, whether it is, you know, your sports that you're interested in. If you're training for basketball, you're not training for basketball at the same time that you're cooking dinner for your family and making a grocery list and cleaning the house, right? If you're hooping, you're hooping, right? It's the same thing with studying. Do one thing at a time. That doesn't mean you have to study all the time. Now, I would, you know, I still have friends that had a social life when I was in college. I'd hang out, but then when it was time to study, it was time to study. When it was time, I played soccer in college. When it was time to play soccer, best believe, yeah, I'd be wrecking people on the soccer field.
I can't do that. That's too much fun. Yeah.
But yeah, so the funny thing is, I actually ended up getting an academic scholarship rather than an athletic one. So I got offered a few athletic ones, but this was my personal choice. I decided when I was kind of late in high school, about 17, to really focus on the academics. I went to a school that had a soccer team. I didn't play my freshman year, and I missed it a lot. Like that, I played again. I played since I was like 5 years old, like every season, and not just I got soccer in the fall. I would play soccer at school in the fall. I play indoor soccer in the winter. I play spring soccer with my club team in the spring. I go to soccer camp, play soccer in the summer. It was year round from the time I was like 6, 7 years old. And I really missed it. And I played like intramural or like, you know, soccer when I was in college. And it just wasn't the same. But I walked onto the team. And from that point on, I was MVP of my team my junior and senior years of college. So I did pretty well, you know, collegiately. But my scholarship was academic.
You got two soccer players with you here. Mr. Lindo.
I know you were talking about studying or whatever, just to piggyback what you were saying, but like, how do you feel like you learn best? Like, how fast do you learn a song?
Like in 4 days.
Like in 4 days, right? Because you listen to it over and over again, right, to catch the words, right? In the same way, the more you hear yourself saying something, the more you are to like retain that information, right? So let's just say if you had like the voice recorder on your phone, right, and you just recorded like maybe yourself reading what it is that you actually got to study for. The more you hear yourself saying it, the more you'll be able to retain it. Because a lot of times I don't retain stuff well when I read it. But if I hear myself saying it, then it's just like it's in there. You know what I mean?
Can I piggyback on something that you're saying real quick? Sorry to interrupt. So y'all follow the NBA? Anybody Warriors fans?
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all know who went to the Warriors this offseason?
KD.
Right. And what happened their first game out the gates?
They got blew out.
Do you know what happened after their first game? Immediately after?
No.
He got mad or something like that. Started arguing.
It's one because
so KD got mad.
On the camera.
And you know where after everybody left the arena and went home at 1 o'clock in the morning, guess who was still in the gym? Putting up shots and talking to himself. Y'all said I can't do this, I'm gonna do this. I'm a champion. I'm great.
But I feel like
putting up jump shots. Go ahead. So 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, he was still in the gym putting up shots. After everybody had gone home, he didn't leave the arena. And the reason is, again, this is, you know, we're talking about like how we study and how we learn. Like the truth is, like all of life is connected, right? Like how you learn and who you are, who you're around. That's the power of why we're talking to you guys today. And yeah, we know maybe we're talking about sports, and we're talking about, you know, how we learn in the classroom. But the reason he was saying those things out loud is when he says it out loud and he hears it, guess who's going to believe it? Yeah, he doesn't care if anybody else is in the gym to hear him say that he's a champion and that he's the greatest and that he can make his shots as he's doing it. And he's talking himself up. That's for him. That's for his strength, because that's how he learns. That's part of, and again, it's that muscle memory of doing that action over and over again to take the shot. That's part of how he's learning. But it's more than just that jump shot. It's about his confidence, right? It's about him knowing he can be in any situation on the court and dominate and be a champion, right? That he can be knocked down. I think I heard this story recently about Ray Allen. Y'all remember Ray Allen?
Yeah.
He would, you know how he hit that shot against
Pacers.
who was it that he hit that baseline against the Spurs, right? So I heard just the other day, for years, right? You know what Ray Allen would do?
Practice that corner shot.
No. This is what he would do. He would lay down on the floor like this, pop up, run in the corner to get the ball. And his coach Spoelstra was like, "Why do you lay down on the floor and pop up?" Coach, you never know when I'm gonna be coming off the screen, get knocked down. Have to run in the corner and hit that baseline, Jay. And guess what he did?
He did.
Yeah. So, you know, in the same way, you talking, and I know it sounds kind of, you know, hokey or corny or whatever to like say to like talk to yourself and like pump yourself up. But yeah, I mean, this is real. This is real talk. Like, and again, whether it's you're learning and you're trying to, like we was talking about, like songs. That's the way that, you know, I have 3 kids, and my daughter who's 5. We put everything, like when we're trying to teach her stuff, like in a song for her. She just remembers it really quickly. But when you say those things, especially when you're saying encouraging things to yourself, there's a power in you hearing yourself say something. It sticks on you differently. Y'all feel that?
Yeah.
It's good.
Everyone wants thanks you all for coming out today.
Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Wish you could